Hello there, and welcome to the VCheck24 tutorial for agents. Here we are already in the agent user interface. And when you first log in, you'll initially be here on the dashboard. The dashboard consists of a running log of all of the most recently submitted VChecks across all of your clients. And I'll return to this, but first I'd like to show you the agents tab. So here we have all the agents' names, title, their mobile number for where they'd like to receive alerts, how many active clients they're monitoring. You can easily deactivate an agent at any time. And I'll show you the process for adding a new one. You'll click here, you'll enter their first name, last name, job title. You can pick role type. If you select user, this new agent will only be able to view and supervise the clients directly under them. If you select admin, that means they'll be able to view all agents in the system and all clients in the system. You'll enter your mobile number here, your email address, and then once you click save, you will immediately be sent an email. You might need to check your junk folder or spam folder, but it'll contain a link for you to click on. You'll create your password and log in as a new agent. Next up, we have our clients page. This shows all of the clients in the system, the primary agent monitoring them, their email if you want to include that, their mobile number, how many check-ins they've completed, which we call VChecks, and how long they've been active in the system. Just like with agents, clients you can deactivate at any time. So you can go here to view all active clients, all inactive, or all of them. You can also just view the clients under any given agent in the system. You can search by client name, and I'll go ahead and show you how to create a new client. Clicking add client, enter in their name, John Doe, birth date, their mobile number, email address is optional, monitoring start date, monitoring end date if you want to set that. It's optional, their time zone, primary agent monitoring them. You can add a case number if you'd like. Supervision type options are treatment, curfew, reentry, pretrial, probation, and bond. If you'd like, you can add up to 3 backup agents monitoring this new client. And here we have our no GPS activity alert. If the client fails to recharge their phone promptly, if they turn off their phone, if they disable the VCheck24 app, if they disable location on their phone, the VCheck24 system will be able to detect this, and use the agent can be alerted after half an hour has gone by of no new GPS trace points, an hour, 3 hours, 6 hours, 9 hours, 12 hours. They can set it for a day after that, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, all the way up to 8 days. Or if they don't want to be alerted in this situation, they can select no GPS alerts. Here is where the agent can create zones if they'd like. I'll go ahead and show you an inclusion zone. We'll just use home curfew as an example. You name the zone whatever you'd like. John's home. You'll enter in his address. Toggle this on. And then you'll create the geo fence. Typically, I recommend expanding, clicking here, going ahead and zooming in. You could create custom shaped zones or circles. I'll show you a circle first. Click here. Click on the pin drop once, move the mouse out, and select, click one more time once you like the perimeter size, which can go up to 1 mile in diameter. Collapse up here. Select inclusion zone. You as the agent, if you'd like, you can have this zone to be active 24/7 or schedule when you'd like it to be active. So I'm going to proceed with the home curfew example. You set the start date when you want it to be active. And I'm going to set home curfew hours for 6 p.m. to 7 a.m. So in this setting, You as the agent can be alerted, and you'd only be alerted by SMS and or email when they exited during this time frame. You can have this trigger just once, or have this be set every day, or on custom days of the week if you'd like. Right here, you actually also have the option, if you want to put a 2 right here, this zone would be active every other week. You can also have it be active every other day, every other month, or right here, every 3 months if you'd like. You can have this zone last forever, or end on a specific date, or after a certain number of triggers. Right here, this is where you have an option to have a VCheck triggered if they if they exit this zone. How it'll work if you want this enabled is the second they leave this geofence, they'll be sent a push notification to submit a VCheck. They'll tap on that. It takes them directly to the VCheck24 app for them to press a button and start their VCheck. I'll show you what those look like momentarily. So once you click save, that new zone populates right there, and I'll create a zone of interest. So let's say you want to make sure they made it to court. Name the zone whatever you'd like again. Courthouse, enter in the courthouse's address, toggle that on. And I'm going to expand this again, zoom in again. And this time we're going to create a polygon zone, a custom shaped zone to be able to view the courthouse better and its parking lot and whatnot. You can switch to satellite view. So what I'm going to do is click on this little icon here in the upper right and make any shape I'd want. So clicking, 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 and then going back over to connect the geofence. Go ahead and collapse this. Scroll down, select zone of interest. You can add global zones if you'd like. I'll show you where to create those in a moment, but these are a library of commonly used zones of interest. So if your county is in New York State, for example, let's pretend this said New York State, you can easily apply a zone of interest around that individual. Other commonly used zones could be like courthouse, like I just created, or a school, prison, AA, address, anything along those, where you don't want to have to create a new zone every single time for new clients, but create these ahead of time and easily apply them. And again, I'll show you how those are created in a moment. Save and continue. Here are your VCheck scheduling options. If you'd like to have them perform random VChecks, you can do that. So between 1 to 5 times per day, they will be sent a random VCheck between any time frame that you prefer. So in this setting, once per day, they'll be sent a VCheck. Could show up at 10:05 a.m., maybe noon, maybe 7:55 p.m. You can create scheduled VChecks. So the example I'm going to use is, let's say you want them to perform a check-in at their lunch break on days they're supposed to be at work. So you name it this scheduled VCheck, whatever you'd like. I'm just going to call it John's work. Set a start date. And I'm going to have John do a check-in at 12:30 p.m. You can have this VCheck go off only once, or be sent every day at this time, or custom days of the week if you'd like. Let's say they just work Monday through Friday. You can have this also be set every other week, every third week, same thing with like every other day or every other month. You can have the scheduled VCheck last forever, or end on a specific date, or after a certain number of VChecks. Save and continue. This is the Verify tab. This just shows a summary of all the profile information you just entered, the zones you created if you did so, the scheduled VChecks if you did so, if you created some of those. And once you click Verify and close, this new client is immediately sent an SMS with a link in it. They tap on that. It takes them directly to Google Play or the Apple Store. They'll download our app. Then they'll be sent a second SMS with a 6-digit verification code to enter. They will then go through the app permissions like camera and mic so they can do their VChecks. Also, location is a permission. And on some phones, they will have to do set the location to always allow instead of only allowing when the app's open. So how that works with those phones, they'll be prompted to click go to settings, and there in the settings in the VCheck24 app settings, they'll click location and click always allow. Once they're done with the permissions, they will then do their first VCheck. And when enrolling them, you'll want to let them know when they perform that first VCheck that they'll want to hold the phone up to, they'll want to hold their phone up to their face. And that way you'll know as an agent, they'll get a good enrollment photo. This is the enrollment photo. It is automatically taken during their first VCheck. So here we have our client's profile page. It shows their monitoring start date, end date if there is one, supervision type, primary agent. You could add case notes if you'd like. Here in this gear icon, at any time, you can deactivate a client. If they lose their phone, you can have them send a new install link by clicking that instead of having to create a whole new client. And you can also go back and edit the client at any time, change their profile information if you'd like. You can go in and delete zones, edit zones, create new zones. And go in and change, maybe disable random VChecks, maybe switch it to 3 times a day. Same with scheduled VChecks, delete them, edit them, create new ones if you'd like. A few more things in the client profile page here. We will dive into the location tracking. So here's where you'll have the geofences and the real-time continuous GPS tracking. So when you first jump in here, I'm going to expand it and zoom in. It's going to show the most recent 50 GPS locations of the client. GPS points are taken on average every 3 minutes. And that's what these blue dots are. You can hover over them to see the timestamp. This little green check mark here, that indicates a submitted VCheck. And this green circle, this is an inclusion zone. So with these zones, I already showed you how to create them, but you as the agent can be notified, if you'd like, when they exit and when they re-enter this zone by email and or SMS. So that notification will tell you their name, the time, and the name of the zone. And like I showed before with the inclusion zones, you can schedule when they're active. Zones of interest, these, again, agents can have the option to be notified when they enter and exit. And with these, the client will be prompted the second they enter to perform a VCheck. If you'd like, actually, let me go ahead and go back up. All of their continuous GPS tracking information is stored for the agent to be able to go back and access at any time. I'm going to show you about a week's worth of tracking location on the map. So select any time frame you'd like. It could be just a 2-hour window if you'd like. I'm doing about a 7-hour window. Click on that for the information to populate. Scrolling down, each of these rows, it shows the time of a GPS point and the nearest address of where that point was taken. But scrolling down, I'm going to select all of the current rows. We've got over 1,000 in this time range. And all that information will populate as all these rows and then also on the map. So I'll show you what a good week's worth looks like. So doing a good week-long period in this example, you'll really be able to get an idea just of the trends of where this person spends their time, where they go. So you might see a lot of GPS points here. That's because that's my home. You might see a lot of GPS points here. Okay, that's their work. But maybe you see something a little suspicious, red flag goes off in your mind. For instance, let's say that you notice they keep going to the other end of town here. It's not the nearest grocery store. It's not a treatment center, anger management class or anything. So if you'd like to go in and take a look, you can zoom in, see the exact cross streets, clicking this is Google Street View, click and drag it over. And you can get a 360-degree view of that address or that street corner. Could it be a drug dealer's address, along those lines. Check out. All of this data can be downloaded or printed off as a PDF. So just clicking on that, it's downloading, and I'll show you what it looks like when it opens. There we go. So this report will show the most recent, what you have currently on the map. It shows the client's profile information. And we've got 3 types of reports. This report shows all of their completed VChecks, zone entering and exiting events, and their location. Another type of report. This one, and again, you can enter any time frame. This report shows all of their missed VChecks, zone entering and exiting, and their location. All right, let's show you the VChecks. Clicking there, clicking all VChecks. So each one of these rows indicates a completed or missed VCheck. Scheduled shows the time when they were prompted to submit a VCheck, when they got that push notification. Here's the time they completed the VCheck if they did. The type of VCheck, whether it's zone triggered, scheduled, random. The status, if they made it on time, late, or missed. And how it works is, once they first get that push notification to submit a VCheck, they're given a 15-minute, they're given 15 minutes to complete it where it's on time. If they miss that window, they're given another 45 minutes where it would be considered late. And if they miss that full hour, it would show up as missed. So clicking on one of these, out pops a preview of the VCheck video, and I'll go ahead and play one for you. Frank Rizzo. I'm at home. Tree shrub. You can view these videos blown up. You can view them as picture-in-picture, and you can also download the video, and the file size is small enough where you can email it internally or to a judge or anything like that. How these VChecks work is they'll tap on a button to start it, and they see themselves being recorded. It gives them 3 prompts to state their name, their current location, and a 2-word phrase. That's what this one, for example, it's a unique random phrase every time, and that's so they can't dupe the system. If the agent wants to, they can approve or reject the video. You can add notes if they'd like, and click save. This is a 3rd type of report. This one shows all of their completed VChecks, late VChecks, and missed VChecks. You can send what we call on-demand VChecks. So clicking here on VChecks, if you click send a VCheck request, they are immediately prompted to submit a VCheck. Going back over to the left sidebar here, clicking zones, these are the global zones. So again, a library of commonly used global zones such as county lines, city lines, state lines, anger management, like rehab center, anything along those. And you create a new one right here the same way as I showed you before with the regular zone of interest. The dashboard, going back to the dashboard, as I said before, this is a running log of all of the most recently submitted VChecks across all the clients. So you'll have different client names here, the type of VCheck, when they completed it, their location at the time. And this is another spot where you can view the VChecks. And one thing to note, when you're on the dashboard here looking at VChecks, if you approve it, we automatically remove it from the dashboard, but you can still see these VChecks on the client profile page. If you reject it, then those will remain on the dashboard. That way you can quickly go back and re-review the video if you wanted to. Lastly, this little profile icon here, shows your agent information. And here are your flexible agent notification settings. So for each of these by SMS and or email, you can be alerted when they miss a VCheck, every time they complete a VCheck, if they trigger a zone. Application errors is if they delete a permission on the VCheck24 app. And here are the no GPS activity alerts. Set those however you wish. Save. And that will about do it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email us at contact@VCheck24.com or give us a call at 833-824-3257. Thank you for listening, and we hope you really benefit from our product. Have a great day. Bye.